Welcome to this video on influential speaking and speechwriting, and in this video I'd like to share with you the concept of moving maps. Let me just define the term. A map is something that represents something else. A map is not the thing it represents. For example, a road map is the map of a road system. It is not the actual road system. And in this context, the map I'm talking about is a person's map of reality. That is the meaning a person gives their experience. As a speaker, I'm looking to influence what a person thinks, feels, and does. In other words, I'm looking to influence a person's map of reality. So let's take a step back and look at how do we create our maps of reality. Now, every one of us takes information from the world around us in through our five senses. We then have to filter that through three main filters, and those are deletion, distortion, and generalization. Let me define deletion. There's over 2 million bits of information hitting me every second, apparently. Now, I can't process all of that. There are some things I notice and some things I don't notice. There are some things in my foreground and some things very much melt into the background. So what determines what I pay attention to and what I don't? Now, a lot of that is to do with my intention, because intention directs attention, which directs awareness, and we respond to what we're aware of. So my intention will determine what I notice, my agenda, if you like, my baggage will determine what's in my foreground. And for you, for example, if wherever you are now, if you allow your eyes to close, whatever room you're in, whatever space you're in, and when your eyes are closed, if you just list in your mind all of the things that are around you right now, maybe chairs or tables, maybe windows, plants, desks, perhaps pens on tables, or whatever it might be. And when you allow your eyes to open, ask yourself, did I notice everything? Were there things that I simply wasn't aware of, even though they're there in front of me now? Now, we all delete different things. Depending on our agendas, where we're coming from, we don't see the same things, even though we might be in the same situation. So we're all beginning to build different maps of reality. So that's an example of deletion. Distortion, very quick definition of distortion. Now, somebody might cross their arms, and you might say, well, that person's a closed person. Somebody else might say, well, maybe it's because they're cold. Somebody else might say, well, maybe simply because that's comfortable. So in other words, the moment we say that equals that, we're beginning to distort. We might look at a table and say, what a beautiful table. Somebody else might say, what an ugly table. The table is actually just a table. The beautiful or the ugly are products of our projections onto experience to create personal meaning. So the table doesn't have those qualities, we supply it. So we're distorting stuff. And then finally, generalization. Now, generalization occurs because we group things together. We sort for similarity. And we can only really have a generalization if we delete the things that make something specific. So we're all generalizing differently, we're all distorting differently, and we're all deleting differently. So we're all creating different versions of reality. And that's further complicated because part of these kinds of filters include our values, our beliefs, our past experience, our memories, and all of these act as filters which take that experience and they begin to change it to create our version of it, to create our map of reality. And our map of reality, which often we think our map of reality is the same as the experience, when in actual fact it's not. Our map of reality is personal to us based on how we filtered. And our map of reality is what I am looking to understand and work with when I'm working with an audience. Now, a person's map of reality will determine how they feel about the experience. How they feel about the experience is going to show in their state, which is how they are in any given moment. And that's going to show in their physiology, in their body language. Now, the thing about the state is your state determines, for example, how you learn. It determines the decisions that you make. It determines your performance. And of course, your performance determines your results. So if you want different results, you have to change your performance. If you want to change your performance, you have to change your state. If you want to change your state, you have to change how you feel. If you want to change how you feel, you have to change the map of the world that's creating that feeling in the first place. And if you want to change that map of the world, you have to change the filters that are creating that map. Now, as a speaker, that's my job. My job, through my stories, through my examples, through the construction of my arguments, my job is to impact how a person is filtering and ultimately, therefore, the map of the world that they create. That's what I'm looking to influence as a speaker. So when I talk about moving maps, this is precisely what I'm talking about, and that's the job of every speaker.